Hi, this is Helen.keit, the Key Team at Keller Williams Realty Landmark here in Queens, New York City. And as part of our Key Team Concierge, I like to interview some of our trusted professionals that we work with and give you an idea and a little insight into their business and certainly how they can help you. So today we have Tara Faquir. Am I saying that right, Tara? Yes, Faquir?
Pretty close, yes.
Okay, she'll tell you. And she has developed a brand new company called Trustate. And I was looking at her background. I'll let her go through that a little bit, but she's quite an entrepreneur and very successful. But what her field and her business is in estate administration. So I think I'm going to let Tara take it from here and tell us the difference between estate planning and estate administration.
Yeah, thanks, Helen, for having me today. I'm excited to chat about estate administration, everyone's favorite topic. So at Trustate, we have built a platform for people to seamlessly administer estates. And I think what we have to talk about first before we talk about estate administration is to your question exactly, like what is the difference between planning and administration? And really, the biggest difference is estate planning happens during your lifetime. That's when you're deciding, you're drafting a will, you're deciding kind of who gets what, where those assets are going to, who those beneficiaries are. And administration is actually carrying that out. So the way that we like to kind of provide a visual for people is the estate plan designates the buckets things go into, and estate administration is actually getting that water to the bucket. And even with the world's best estate plan, you still have to get the water to the bucket after somebody passes away. So, that's kind of in its simplest form, the difference between planning and administration.
Interesting, because I know it's just, we certainly work with families in all different steps, but certainly when you see them after someone has passed, it is overwhelming. So what would some of those steps be? I know a lot of your business is to help B2B, which are the accountants, the financial people, the attorneys, in fact. And so how would that be helpful to the end user by using your service?
Absolutely. So our goal at Trustate is to help all stakeholders involved with an administration. So typically you think about that executor, that's the person who is named to act on behalf of the estate. They have the legal authority to do so, but there's all other people who are involved in the process. So typically you hear about the financial advisor, the lawyer, the realtor, because these are big pieces of the estate administration that have to be tackled in some way. So we work through those professionals in order to carry out all of the tasks of the administration. So for example, with a lawyer, they're going to be doing the legal work in an estate administration. So maybe that's some of the probate work that needs to happen in order to get that executor the legal authority. They're appointed as that legal representative of the estate, but there could be other legal work that needs to be done. I mean, perhaps there's litigation on the estate. They're doing those legal components. The advisor's doing their area of expertise, and we're doing all of the other things, all of the administration, all of those tasks that you have to do in order to properly close out the estate. And that can be anything from transferring stock ownership to a beneficiary, but it could also be something that people don't think about, like what about the utilities that's in somebody's name who has passed away? Like that has to be done. That's work that has to be actually completed. And for an executor who just lost a loved one, that can be really quite an emotional journey to have to call those institutions and say that their loved one passed and they have to close out an account. So we take that all those tasks on, kind of ease that burden for the executor, but then work with their trusted professionals so that they can make sure everything is done correctly and efficiently and make this a much more seamless opportunity, a seamless process than it has been in the past.
Because I hear so many people say, oh, I'm so bogged down trying to just, wrap up, whether it's the health plan or whatever, and all the details and the communication. And I've even heard people say when they're trying to get rid of the social media for the deceased, do you get into these kind of things?
Yeah, believe it or not, that is part of it. If somebody's name is out there. LinkedIn, for example, there's legal paperwork that needs to be filed for LinkedIn to close or cancel that account or memorialize it. And families need to make these decisions. Do they want to memorialize their great aunt's Facebook account, or do they want it closed? But either way, some decision needs to be made on it, and that's something we can do for them, because it's really quite heartbreaking when a social media account is not dealt with, because you can get a reminder in 6 months, a year, 2 years down the road that says like, hey, remember this, or do you know this person? And that person has passed away, and it can really cause a lot of emotional pain for people. So we really look at everything that person's name has been attached to, and go ahead and, at the directive of those professionals and that executor, do the things that they ask us to do, whether it's memorializing it, closing it, transferring, whatever it is, whether it's social media or utilities, we do it all for them, because it's the little things, I think, that people don't realize are kind of the biggest emotional hurdles for people.
Oh, I
So
see this all the time. This is a great service. So now you've added this whole tech component. That's your specialty here. And
yeah.
it just makes it more seamless, more organized. You tell me what's.
Yeah, of course. So, as we have been working with our clients, one thing that became very clear is that the technology we're using in-house to administer these estates is really what the professionals out there want to use in their practice. So lawyers want to be able to use our technology in order to have a really efficient way to close out an estate. Prior to Trustate, the way that you really learned about somebody's assets and liabilities was kind of just monitoring the mail, trying to get into their email accounts, looking at apps they may have had on their phone to give you some indication of what what credit cards people had, or homes they may have owned. Sometimes there's pieces of property that are unknown. So you're kind of waiting for any indication to figure out what someone's name was attached to. So we've created tools, and we're about to launch them very soon for professionals. So at the click of a button, they can learn everything that decedent, had owned or owed during their lifetime. So it's really a game changer for these professionals who want to be able to help their clients and not have to rely on those antiquated ways to do so.
How that's amazing, because I feel that most, or many, for instance, don't deal with this part of the problem for the family. So
Right.
now, if they have this easy answer, right, to certainly an efficient answer, efficient way to really help wrap up everything and all these details. So, okay, this is invaluable. And are you brand new in this space, as far as do you have competition who have started doing it?
Yeah, that's always the $1,000,000 question there. And, it's really interesting. The estate administration space, it's not overly crowded, which is great. And those companies that are out there that do help people with administration, they really focus more on the grief side, which is great, because that's something that people really do need assistance with. We solely focus on the tasks, and we're working with the trusted professionals so that they can actually better serve their clients. So while there are some B2C offerings out there, and those grief type platforms, we're really task driven and working B2B.
That's terrific. And you really go across the United States with this?
Yeah, we are nationwide, which is awesome. So we can help any person with an estate anywhere in the U.S. We do have executors who are non-U.S. based, but we must have U.S. assets in order to help them. So we're not administering assets outside of the U.S.
Okay, that makes sense. So I would be best to refer you to my whole realm of professionals who don't realize that this can be such a great add-on service, right? Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we work primarily with trust and estates attorneys, financial advisors, and really because those are, if you think about when somebody has a loss in their family, after they call the immediate family, they typically talk to the lawyer, the financial advisor to try to figure out kind of the scope of what they're getting involved in. So we work with those professionals and then really help elevate their practice by being able to administer estates for them that maybe they weren't otherwise able to do so because they don't have a paralegal on staff or any administrative support, and we can be that support for them.
That's terrific. So you can help a sole practitioner, be more valuable. I don't want to put you on the spot here. Do you work like on a flat fee, or do you have, scheduled?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do work on a flat fee, super reasonably fees so that can still be part of somebody's practice. So a lawyer can use us at that flat fee. And then for our new search tools that I was just talking about that are coming out, the ones where you can figure out what somebody owned and owed, that's going to be a fee per search so that any professional, as long as they have the proper verification, because verification is really important to this process, then they can run those searches per estate at a very low cost.
That's great. And do you have any kind of pre-planning tool, an organizer, that sort of thing that?
We've been asked about that a lot, and we do not have that yet. We're really trying to tackle the administration part and really get that at like its most maximized efficiency. So pre-plan, or I should say like a pre-planned administration is something that is definitely on our radar, but we haven't really put too much planning into that yet. But we've been asked about it, as you can imagine, fairly often.
Well, don't worry, because you're doing an amazing job bringing an amazing service here. So we're going to have all Tara's information on here so that you can certainly reach out to her. And is there anything, that you'd like to cover that I haven't brought up here, Tara? Anything?
Yeah, I think that, just a plug for the way that we're saving people time and money is we are saving professionals about 470 hours per every estate that they're having to administer. And, what that translates into their, costs is, certainly dependent on their pricing, but it's substantial, and we're really able to help a lot of people.
That is amazing. That's technology and Tara's brain power here at work that have brought a real savings to, the grieving families and all those who are doing their planning and having to deal with all the little things that now can be just efficiently taken care of. Wonderful. Thank you, Tara. Thanks, Tara,
Thank you so much
for being with us today.